Okay, here we are. It's Elimination Chamber 2018, our second to last brand extension exclusive pay-per-view. From here on out, they're going to be co-branded, so I'm going to have to try to figure out something else to fill spare time up. Anyway, our kickoff show match is a tag match between the Club and the Miz Taraj of Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas. Kind of your typical kickoff show tag match. Anderson and Axel started things off. There's one point Bo Dallas tagged into the match, and they had this weird smash cut right to the Elimination Chamber. It's like even they knew that this was going to be pretty nondescript. It was a cool spot early on. Like I said, Dallas said actually tagged out at this point. Carl Anderson went for a top rope move, and Dallas pushed him off. Curtis Axel came in and hit a natural selection on Anderson for a 2 count. Eventually, Gallows got the hot tag and splashed Bo Dallas in the corner. There was a big schnoz on the outside. The Miz Taraj hit a double knee smash on Anderson, but then the Club came back and hit the Magic Killer for the 3 count and the victory. Like I said, very nondescript match. Not necessarily bad, just kind of, filler. We then cut backstage where the Revival began to run down the strategies of both teams as they found it to be not suitable to their style of tag team wrestling, which I will touch on at a later point. Okay, moving on to the show proper, we have the Raw Women's Championship Elimination Chamber match. Alexa Bliss versus Mandy Rose versus Bayley versus Mickie James versus Sonya Deville versus Sasha Banks. Starting things off were Bayley and Sonya Deville. As the Absolution was being, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville were actually introduced at the same time, and then both of them teased which one were going to be starting the match. Eventually, Mandy got in the pod and Sonya stayed out. Anyway, some decent wrestling going on. Bayley hit a bulldog. At one point, Sonya, I'm sorry, I keep saying Sasha. Sonya clubbed Bayley in the stomach and sold it like a rib injury. Bayley came back in an elbow drop to the chamber floor. At that point, the second entrant, Mandy Rose, came in. At this point, Absolution double teamed on Bayley until Sasha Banks entered the match. She was the next entry in. She immediately threw Mandy Rose into the pod and hit a flying knees onto Sonya Deville. As this is happening, Mickie James, just before that, Mickie James was the next one in, but just before that happened, Sasha locked Mandy Rose in the bank statement and Mandy tapped out. Mickie James came in, Mickie hit a flapjack on Sasha. Mickie and Bayley began to fight on the chamber wall at this point, and Bayley got knocked off. Mickie then hit a flying senton roll onto Sonya Deville, got the 3 count. Bayley immediately came in and hit the Bayley to belly on Mickie to eliminate her. At this point, Alexa Bliss has not yet entered the match, and we're all pretty much down to the last 3: Sasha, Bayley, and Alexa. Alexa entered the match and basically tried to not get involved. She tried hiding in her pod. She tried climbing the chamber wall. Bayley and Sasha pursued her. They cornered her, and Alexa managed to move over to the top of one of the pods. Sasha got on top of the pods with her. Bayley started to climb the pod, and then Sasha kicked her off, which was kind of stupid. Why not make sure you eliminate Alexa first before... Yeah, you're already tipping off this means Alexa's going to win, because, yeah, you don't do that at that juncture of the match. Anyway, Bayley and Sasha started fighting. Bayley hits the belly to belly off the second rope onto Sasha. However, before Bayley can cover Sasha, Alexa comes in and rolls up Bayley for the 3 count. Alexa hit a Twisted Bliss off the pod onto Sasha, who countered that into a bank statement. It was a really cool move, but Alexa fought out of it. Sasha tried to go for another top rope move, but Alexa pushed her down and then hit a top rope DDT for the 3 count and the victory to retain the Raw Women's Championship and move on to WrestleMania. Who she'll be facing? Well, there's going to be an interesting point to that. Okay, our next match is the Raw Tag Team Championship match. The Bar versus Titus Worldwide. That's Titus O'Neil and Apollo. It's Apollo now. He's not Apollo Crews anymore. I've heard that there is a reason for this, but since it hasn't been officially confirmed in any way, shape, or form, I can't say as to why it is that Apollo dropped the Crews. Anyway, before the bell even rang, Sheamus and Cesaro went after Apollo. Apollo came back and did a big flying crossbody to the outside of the ring onto Sheamus and Cesaro. The Bar came right back into it and immediately began to isolate Apollo Crews. Sorry, Apollo. Eventually Apollo managed to get to the tag to Titus O'Neil. Titus hits the Clash of the Titus for a 2 count, but Cesaro broke the pin. Apollo tagged back in and hit another suicide plancha. Excuse me. Cesaro tagged Sheamus at one point, so when Apollo went for his finisher, Cesaro chopped him, and then they hit a double team springboard maneuver. The Bar get the 3 count and the victory. They retain. Not really, it's a pretty by the book match, not surprising in any way, really. The one thing I would say is the Bar operated very much like an old school tag team, which is something the Revival were talking about earlier in the show, if you recall, their little backstage segment. And like I said, I've heard they're trying to push the Revival as to winning the tag team belts at WrestleMania. I know Sheamus is really selling a bad neck injury. There's times he was really tensing up, it just holding the back of his neck. So I don't know if the Bar can really hold on to them much longer after that. Don't know if we're going to get a multi-team tag match, if we're going to get a ladder match again, or what. But that's something to look forward to in the next few weeks. Okay, our next match is Asuka versus Nia Jax. If Nia wins, she gets to join the. She gets a title shot at WrestleMania. It opened up with a really cool image of an Asuka mask on the floor, and then Nia Jax crushing it as she makes her way to the ring. The opening vignette talked about Asuka's undefeated streak, however, they conveniently omitted that she beat Nia Jax twice in NXT. Anyway, Nia came in and dominated early on. She countered an elbow strike with a big headbutt. At one point, she just stomped Asuka into the ring mat. Asuka went for a knee drop, but Nia caught her and slammed her into the turnbuckle. Asuka tried to lock on a guillotine choke, but Nia fought out of that and actually hit a jackhammer. Which is actually a really good move for her. I'm surprised they don't ever run that again. Asuka hit a Shining Wizard, got a 2 count. Asuka came back and hit 2 big roundhouse kicks. Nia came back again, went for a Banzai drop, but Asuka dodged it. Nia went for a big power bomb, but Asuka countered that into a victory roll for the 3 count and the victory. No real shock here that Asuka wins. However, afterwards, Nia attacked Asuka, slamming her a few times, slamming her into the ring post, and then smashed her through the Timekeeper's barricade. And this is leaving me to wonder now, maybe since Asuka has not declared who she's facing at WrestleMania, could we possibly be seeing Asuka going to challenge Charlotte, and maybe Nia finally getting her shot against Alexa Bliss, or another multi-woman match on the Raw side? Don't really know. I mean, Asuka and Charlotte could be entertaining, so I'm not entirely opposed to that. But, I mean, I don't really want to see another multi-woman match on the Raw brand. We did that last year. I mean, we had multi-women matches in both brands last year at WrestleMania, so I kind of like to see them at least try to do something different there. Okay, our fifth match is Woken Matt Hardy versus Bray Wyatt. Matt Hardy came out first, did the delete thing, and then suddenly Bray Wyatt's little video thing plays. Not his music, but his little video catch plays, and then he pops up and he's in the ring, but Matt Hardy has vanished. Wyatt starts looking for Hardy. Over the PA system, you start hearing, I'll fade away and classify myself as obsolete. Obsolete! Which was Jeff Hardy's entrance music when he was Brother Nero in the Broken Hardy's gimmick in TNA. But that doesn't really lead to anything as Matt suddenly pops up out of nowhere and jumps Bray Wyatt. Wyatt tries to do the spider walk, but immediately Matt just stands there and applauds. Wyatt comes back, hits a couple of big DDTs, one on the ring apron. Matt fought back, hit a tornado DDT, and then followed it with a side effect. Wyatt came in, hit an Uranagi, and then a senton for a 2 count. Matt dodged a second senton attempt and countered his sister Abigail into the twist of fate for the 3 count and the victory. This match, it was entertaining because of the whole Woken Matt Hardy thing, but Bray was surprisingly reserved throughout most of this. It would have been cool to maybe have him get on the mic. It could have added a little bit to this. Other than that, that was pretty lacking. And now we've achieved the Ronda Rousey contract signing. They replay the events from the Rumble and all the mainstream press coverage it got. And after that, we go through they talk about her MMA career, conveniently forgetting that she lost her last 2 matches, and in her second loss, she got beaten so badly she needed reconstructive facial surgery, but okay. Anyway, Angle comes out, then Triple H and Stephanie comes out, and eventually Rousey comes out. And no, I'm not calling her Rowdy Ronda Rousey. She's just Ronda Rousey. Anyway, she gets on the mic, cuts a heartfelt, but she's not quite used to cutting promos. She does talk about, she always wanted to be in WWE. This is an emotional moment for her. She doesn't want gifts. She just wants to earn respect. She's not here to take anyone's spot. She's like I said, she didn't want any perks. The only thing is her contract does say she gets a match at WrestleMania. At this point, Steph and Triple H are smiling. Triple H and Angle are starting to talk. Rousey starts to sign, and then Angle grabs the mic and says, "Oh yeah, Triple H and Steph, they're so excited for this. They've been waiting ever since WrestleMania 21. I mean 31. When you beat them up, they wanted to manipulate you into this. They think you're nothing. Steph thinks she can take you." Triple H at this point starts kind of ushering Angle off. He's like, that's nothing. Kurt's been fighting the flu bug all week, so he had a little relapse there. Anyway, Angle just continues kind of egging Rousey on, and they go back into the ring. Rousey's basically not having any more buttering from Triple H or Stephanie. She grabs Hunter, picks him up, and slams him through the table, and grabs her contract, signs it. And then Steph comes in and slaps Ronda Rousey, and Rousey basically slaps her back, walks back up the ring, and points to the WrestleMania sign. Hopefully this means we are going to get a mixed tag team match, Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Stephanie and Triple H. That would actually be something I'd like to see. I know there's been some other rumors. It's not going to be The Rock, people. Just put that to bed right now. The Hollywood insurance companies will not allow him to do the wrestling, especially after his last full-time wrestling match, which was WrestleMania 29, where he tore an abductor muscle and suffered a massive hernia. On top of that, they're not going to, like Hollywood said, no more. We can't have you getting seriously hurt and jeopardizing your career. The SAG insurance won't cover that. So, no, it's not going to be The Rock. Hopefully it'll be Angle and Rousey. I know that for a while they were thinking it might be Seth Rollins and Ronda Rousey or Braun Strowman and Ronda Rousey, but Angle and Rousey works fine, especially given their Olympic history, given the fact that Angle, for the most part nowadays, runs a pretty MMA style. That should be fine. And now we're finally at the main event of the evening, the 7-man Elimination Chamber match to be the #1 contender for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania and face Brock Lesnar, obviously. Elias versus John Cena versus The Miz versus Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. Okay, opening things up, instead of 2 opponents, we had 3 because there was only 4 additional pods. So it's The Miz, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins. Balor and Rollins were the last 2 entrants, which I guess makes sense since I believe they were the last 2 Elimination Chamber entrants in general. Yeah, the last 2 to earn spots for the Chamber match. Early on, Miz tried to get Balor to side with him by using a lot of the Bullet Club paraphernalia. He would do the gun shoot, he did the too sweet, and Balor was having none of that. They fought for a while. The next entrant was John Cena. Cena and Rollins began arguing. Cena countered a attempted Revolution knee. That's the one-winged angel that Kenny Omega uses. Like I said, he countered that into a sidewalk slam. Rollins hit a super kick on Balor. Balor performs several stomps onto Cena via the chamber wall. At that point, Roman Reigns entered the match. Miz managed to sneak attack both Reigns and Rollins. At this point, Braun Strowman entered the match, and Reigns goes for a Superman punch quickly. Miz tries to avoid Braun Strowman as best he can. He climbs the chamber wall to escape him. Strowman followed him up. They got on top of one of the pods, and Strowman threw Miz off the pod onto everyone else. At this point, Strowman hit a running power slam on Miz for the 3 count and the victory to eliminate him. At this point, Elias enters, though he chose not to actually enter the match and just locked himself in his pod. Anyway, everyone hits a quadruple power bomb on Strowman, and then an attitude adjustment, a spear, a curb stomp, and a coup de grace onto Strowman, but they still were unable to eliminate him. Eventually, Elias worked himself into the match, tried to get some cheap pins on everyone, and then Strowman got up and power slammed him for the 3 count to eliminate Elias. At this point, probably the more surprising elimination happened, just in terms of its timing, in John Cena going for a top rope crossbody, countering, and Strowman countering that into a power slam. I say surprising because, again, I thought this happened a little earlier on. I thought it would happen later. I thought Cena would be one of the last 2 eliminated, not one of the first 3. Anyway, Strowman came back and eliminated Balor with a running power slam. Shortly after Reigns had been hit with a coup de grace, Strowman got in there and hit the running power slam. Reigns hits a Samoan drop on the outside of the ring, followed by Rollins hitting a frog splash over the pod on Strowman, but it didn't eliminate him. In fact, Strowman then hit a running power slam on Seth Rollins to eliminate him. At this point, Strowman just continued to dominate Reigns, though Reigns got a few licks throwing Strowman into the pod a couple of times. Reigns eventually came back with a series of Superman punches, and he hit 2 spears and finally gets the 3 count and the victory. Roman Reigns is going to WrestleMania to face Brock Lesnar. Afterwards, though, Strowman attacked Roman Reigns, hit a couple of running power slams, and then threw him through one of the Elimination Chamber pods. Really decent match. I thought it was pretty darn good, and I think it was better than the women. It was actually better than the women's chamber match. It definitely had a lot more high impact moves, had some better drama in it. That being said, I know people aren't happy that Roman Reigns won, but if you haven't been paying attention to anything they've been building towards Reigns Lesnar 2, the destruction of Jared Sin at WrestleMania, Reigns isn't injured as far as I know. I know there's some rumors about some guy claiming that he has evidence that Reigns was taking steroids, but again, he hasn't been suspended. So, yeah, if you were expecting anyone other than Roman Reigns to win this, you really shouldn't have. You should have been paying more attention. Like I said, it's been clear for so long. That being said, I understand. I get that I would have liked to maybe seen some other eliminations, not just Strowman eliminating everyone, because it made him look a little too unstoppable. But overall, I was thoroughly entertained by the match. The show overall was really... it had some great high points, let's just say that. I didn't hate... I mean, I found the Woken Matt Hardy Bray Wyatt thing to be kind of lacking, but above average. Everything else was pretty average except for the 2 chamber matches. The contract signing segment was actually entertaining, unlike pretty much every other time they try to do something like this, it blows up in their face. But like I said, that one was at least entertaining. Like I said, the rest of the matches were at least average. They weren't terrible, but just nondescript. I think I'm just going to give this one a B. Like I said, it was bolstered by the 2 chamber matches. Okay, so, like I said, with the Marvel Netflix catch-up, we're starting Avengers and Punisher next, so that'll be the next video there. After that will be a review of Red Sparrow, hopefully, and then the random trade review on Lobo, Portrait of a Passage. See you all then.
Hey guys, tired of me always talking about WWE and NXT? Want to see me cover something like, say, Ring of Honor, Impact, New Japan, anything else? Check out my Patreon at Sleepy Time for Cat Productions and see how you can help me expand my wrestling coverage.